You know, it's very interesting because when I had womb cancer, my first thought was, well, that's a stroke of luck because I don't need a womb. I mean, if I could get it anywhere, how lucky am I to have it in my womb? I don't need a womb. My womb gave me a great baby. She's now grown up. And so I felt very
I
lucky I got
love your
it in
positive
a,
enthusiasm.
yeah, well, you know, the weird thing is that it starts being what you do, but then it becomes who you are. So I felt very lucky that it was an organ I didn't need ever again. But of course, then they went, well, now when we remove the womb, some of the cancer cells can spill out and then it can go to the liver. So with the best meaning in the world, doctors do terrify you. So I imagined my womb wrapped up in cling film, or you might call it saran wrap. I imagined it like a fortress that I told my body to surround it so that when they removed it, no cancer cells could spread. I had a conversation with my womb. I said, look, you've done a great job. You've given me a great baby. She's now grown up, but I've got to be here for that great baby. So I got to let you go. And I had a conversation. I said goodbye to it, but I imagined it leaving totally, every single cell left with it. I also imagined, because when I first got diagnosed, I didn't know the stage. So it was very important to imagine a whole barricade around my womb so it couldn't spread, because first stage cancer is not really an issue. It hasn't gone anywhere. But they do terror. Oh, it could go to the liver, it could go to the kidneys. And so that was very important. And then I went in, I had it removed. I went home the next day and I felt like, oh, I had cancer. Now I don't have cancer. And people would say to me, oh, I'm a cancer survivor too. And I'm like, no, I'm not a cancer survivor. I don't have it. I didn't ever want to join a group. I don't think those groups are wrong, but I didn't want to go to a group and go, oh, well, my cancer, because I'm a great believer that do not call anything you want to be free of mine. Not my migraine, my cancer, my irritable bowel, because if you call something mine, you own it. It's an ownership word. You might say, this is my kid, this is my home. Now I've got my irritable bowel, I've got my tension headache. So I didn't want to be a cancer survivor or talk about my cancer. And I correct people all the
How
time.
did you refer to it then?
You see,
the
isn't
cancer.
the cancer.
I remember you correcting me on this.
I
We
correct
bumped
people
into
all
each
the
other
time.
in a hotel, and you asked me, how's your eyesight
Yeah.
doing? And I said, well, my astigmatism has gotten better.
Yeah.
And you said, nope, don't say my astigmatism.
Yeah, because you
say
don't want to
the
own it.
astigmatism.
Yeah. And
Right.
so these little things are so simple, yet they are immensely powerful. You never want to call anything mine if you don't want to own it. People say, you know, my fat thighs, my cellulite, it's not yours. It's because when people say, oh, here's the wife, we don't like that. What do you mean, the wife? Surely I'm your wife. I want you to say, this is my wife, because I want to own that. So switch my to the. It makes a massive difference.
So now let's go on to the exact statement that you taught me on how to heal my eyesight.
Okay.
Okay, and it was a technique that you call the DIC technique.
I do.
Literally the DIC technique.
Yes.
And DIC, D-I-C-C, stands for direct, instruct, command, and compel.
Yeah.
Direct, instruct, command, and compel. And this is one of the coolest things I learned, guys. So I want to have Marisa teach this technique to you as well. And did you really have to call it the DIC technique?
Well, initially
I called
it CID because it was command, instruct, direct.
Uh-huh.
And in England, CID means criminal investigation. We all know CID, it's like the English version of FBI. But once I was doing this, people didn't know what CID was, but everyone knows what DIC was. So, and that's a good energy too. So I thought, well, that's actually better calling it DIC energy, direct, instruct, command, because that's very powerful. So most people like that. Some people are a bit shocked, but it doesn't matter. They remember it.
They remember it, and that's the key point.
You can't forget.
D-I-C-C, direct, instruct, command, and compel.
It's actually 3 C's and code.
Oh,
Code,
direct, instruct, command, compel, and code.
Yeah.
3 C's. So it's DIC.
Yeah, exactly.
D-I-C-C-C.
Yeah.
Direct, instruct, command, compel, and code.
Code, yeah.
Got
And
it.
you see, that's what you're doing. You're directing your body to heal itself. During COVID, people will come to me and go, oh my God, you know, COVID, there's no line of defense. I'm like, there is a line of defense. It's called your immune system. And by the way, you can go, oh, I'm lying in bed with my husband, he's streaming, I'm going to get it. Or you could say, well, I'm not going to get it because I have a fantastic immune system. It is a choice. Every day you get to choose how to speak. Now, you can choose to be super negative. I've got a terrible immune system. My metabolic rate is rubbish. I catch every illness going. You can choose that. Or you can choose to go, hey, I've got a fantastic immune system. I happen to have a fantastic metabolic. My digestion is amazing. My memory is incredible. The thing you can't choose is what you do to your body when you think there's negative thoughts. And if you could see what you did, you would never do that. You would never go, got my migraine, my tension headache, my irritable bowel. I always get seasonal flu. I always get fat over the 10-day Christmas holidays. You wouldn't do it because your mind has zero choice but to act on your words. But you have choice to stop that. Like, give you an example. My little girl, when she was little, would go to leave the house and come back. And I never said, what have you forgotten? I said, what have you remembered? I remembered my lunch. Remember my swimming kit. And you see, I was saying, isn't your mind amazing? As you get to the way you remember, I could have said, oh, here we go again. Every day you forget. But because I said, what have you remembered? She began to think, hey, I've got a great memory. As I get to the door, I remember everything. It was just a little tiny switch. What have you remembered, not what have you forgotten? And so that was a simple way of talking to yourself, thinking yourself better. If you get a cold, rather than going, oh, I've got a cold for a week, just say, hey, this is going to be gone in a day. I'm going to command my body to fix it. I've hypnotized many women to go through the menopause in 3 weeks. You don't have to have that for a year. Just speed it up or, in fact, slow it down. I had a client who went into the menopause at 37 and she hadn't had children. I said, but you can reverse that. So I hypnotized her to reverse all the symptoms. And she had one son who's now grown up, and then she went into the menopause later. So you never have to be a victim of that. You have immense power to change, And if you're not changing your words, not changing your language, if you're not choosing to think better words, you're actually choosing to stay the same.